There will be spoilers for Deltarune, so go and play it or watch it before continuing. Deltarune's recent chapters shattered most theories that have been established. Something that no one could have ever expected was Chapter 4. This chapter shattered everyone's expectations and completely broke the mold of what could be possible in the future. Something that was expected and did happen were themes of control and destiny being present in the chapter. Moreover, the name of the chapter is the prophecy, so whatever said must be important to the future of Deltarune. While all of the chapter has very important information, I'm only going to be focusing on one part of it, the secret boss fight. This is your last chance to click away before any spoilers. Ready? Alright. When you start the fight, Gerson retells a story, Lord of the Hammers, based on the prophecy, so whatever he says should link close back to the prophecy itself. Chapter 1. The March of the Dark King. The heroes defeat the king and stop the dragon. Chapter 1 of Deltarune was about defeating the Spade King after falling into the Dark World, which already coincides with the story Gerson's retelling. However, there's no dragons in the first chapter of Deltarune, so maybe the dragon's symbolic of another character. Dragons' cultures vary from place to place. In the West, it's mostly chaotic and destructive, while Eastern culture is depicted as wise and intelligent. A character from Deltarune Chapter 1 who shares this dichotomy is Jevil. It's revealed in Deltarune that Jevil once talked to a mysterious man who gave him vast intelligence. After this, he went insane and believed everyone else was trapped, while he was the only free one. When you fight him, many of his attacks are themed around chaos. So I believe, at least symbolically, Jevil is the dragon. Chapter 2. The City of the Shining. The heroes do battle in chariots to save the queen. In the second chapter of Deltarune, you're in the Bright Cyber City. The queen as the overarching antagonist who wants to take over the world. Chariots are often carriages that you ride into battle. In Deltarune, there are two fights where you're on a roller coaster. The Burnley fight and the Spamton Neo fight. It's no graver out of Deltarune. Spamton plays a major role. Not only does he take over the queen's mansion by the end, he also gives you the Thorn Ring. By beating Spamton Neo in the normal route, he stops Spamton from taking over the mansion, which stops him from doing God knows what. Chapter 3. The Isles of Northern Light. The heroes travel among the islands and catch a glimpse of a lost land. The Lost Lands reference here is most likely the prototype games, which are hidden behind the S-Rank door. In order to beat this chapter's secret boss, the Roaring Knight, you have to go through these old games and get the Shadow Mantle. You have to get the Shadow Mantle. Regardless of that, it's vital in order to beat the Roaring Knight. In the normal boards, you can actually visit this. You'll just have to wait until 10 is gone before going north. Chapter 4. The Trials of the Holy Hammer. A great smith gives the heroes a terrible weapon. The item you get for beating Chapter 4's secret boss is the Justice Axe. While the axe itself doesn't have any special qualities, you had to become stronger in order to get it. To actually beat Gerson's fight, you either have to use Root Buster constantly, in which case he parries it back, or you have to use OK Heal. If you choose the latter, then the cost of the heal goes down and the effectiveness goes up. So, I believe the terrible weapon isn't an actual weapon, but rather the ability to grow and overcome challenges. Why am I talking about each of these lines individually? Well, it's to draw a connection between what actually happened and what Gerson's talking about. The fact that the previous chapters of Deltarune and what Gerson's talking about line up really well implies whatever he's saying must be true. Getting details such as Jevil's character traits and how you fight Spamton adds a lot of legitimacy for what he's about to say. Chapter 5. The Field of Pink and Gold. The vast garden is charred in an inferno of jealousy. Since Chapter 5 isn't actually out, all we can do is speculate, but I have a pretty good feeling I know what's going to happen. Since what Gerson said so far has linked closely back to the secret bosses, I believe this is depicting what the Chapter 5 secret boss could be. Later in the chapter, we see a prophecy panel that says the Flower Man, trapped in an asylum, and the only character we know who has any relations to flowers is Asgore. Throughout the game, Asgore's trying to mend his relationship with Toriel, so when Azrael gets home, they can live normally. But at the end of Chapter 4, it's revealed that Sans is getting drunk with Toriel, which would obviously complicate things, probably would be jealous. And we know that Asgore has something in his flower shop that Toriel does not support. It is also shown that Asgore has a so-called black shard, which is most likely a shadow crystal. All of this is shaping up Asgore to at least be involved with the next chapter's secret boss. What happens next? Who knows? There's only one more chapter. After that, it all stopped. That next book, it never did get written. The story, it became so grand, so overwhelming, some say it swallowed up the author himself. The ones who could write the next. The youth. The pen was lying there for them to pick up, to make the next page. They never did. But you, my dear, I see a story lit in your eyes, burning bright, burning black, burning everything up. So, how do you think it all ends? No, how do you want it to end? An ending, huh? If I could choose, I guess, I wouldn't have an ending. It's better if things just go on forever, right? As Gerson says, there's only one more chapter. After that, the series came to a halt. Comparing this to Deltarune, that means chapter 7 is not actually in the story. And Gerson asking Susie how she thinks the story should end implies Susie's significance to the end of the story is much greater than anyone could ever think. I believe whatever's at the end of the prophecy, either Susie will have a major role in defying that, or something will happen which prevents her from doing so. Regardless of what might happen, Susie is shaping up to be one of, if not the most important characters for the future. Well, ain't that something? At this late hour, with the bells ringing out their justice, you choose eternity. Miss, hold on dearly to that thought, for the tides of fate are drawing close, and soon an ocean of ink shall wash across the page. Before, you said you fancied yourself a hero, didn't ya? That's real interesting. But there is one thing that can override the dark, a white pin known as hope. Miss, I believe this is what you hold. Me? Nah, Chris has a pin. My weapon's like a hairbrush or something. Is that so? Is that so? With the final words spoken, this strengthens the idea of Susie being crucial to the way Deltarune ends. First, it's been directly stated Susie holds a white pin known as hope, which can override the dark, and maybe override the prophecy. Gerson's story and the prophecy are also closely linked together, and Gerson often asks Susie how she thought the story should end. So, I believe Susie will play a major part in how Deltarune actually ends. I also believe this is setting up a major arc for Susie as a character, which would be letting go of the past and looking towards the future. During the fight, Gerson asks Susie how she thinks the story should end. She responds with never, and Gerson tells her to hold on to that idea. This could come back later in the story, where she has to realize things can't continue forever. Lastly, and maybe most important, I believe this fight shows the prophecy could change, and fate could be defied after all. Throughout the entirety of Deltarune, it's been said that your choices don't matter, and that there's only one ending. But Gerson, who has a story that almost links up one-to-one with the prophecy, says completely otherwise. He says that fate can be defied, and that you can choose how the story ends. Whether this is a good or bad thing, we'll only know at the end. After all, the only alternate route is the Snow Grave route, which involves a lot of manipulation and doing things Chris doesn't want to do. I'm probably not the first person to talk about this subject, but I felt it was important. There's so much of this chapter still left undiscussed. Even though this fight had a lot of vital information, so much of the chapter did as well, but I could not talk about all of that in this video. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing or liking the video. If it gets 20 likes, I'll make a video about Spamton.